The Hauntings of Grafton Street, Bradford. A forgotten tale of restless spirits. Nestled in the historic heart of Bradford, Grafton Street is a quiet, unassuming lane that belies its eerie past. Known for its age-old red brick buildings and narrow, dimly lit alleys, Grafton Street is an atmosphere all its own. One that residents and visitors alike say feels heavy with a strange, inexplicable presence. Over the years, ghostly tales and mysterious happenings have woven themselves into the history of this small street, making it a site of local legend. The street's haunted reputation is not well known, but for those who have experienced its chilling energy, Grafton Street's secrets are unforgettable. One of Grafton Street's oldest ghostly tales revolves around the spirit of a cobbler who once ran a modest repair shop there in the late 19th century. Known for his skill and meticulous work, he was a respected figure in the community until his life ended in a tragic accident when he fell from a rickety ladder in his own shop. Some say he had been trying to retrieve a cherished keepsake from a high shelf, and it was this personal loss that sent him spiraling into his final moments. Visitors and workers who have passed by or worked near the site of his old shop report hearing the faint sound of hammering and scraping, as if someone were hard at work fixing shoes in the dead of night. The sounds are unsettling, echoing through the empty street as though the cobbler himself were trying to finish his work. On rare occasions, people claim to have seen a faint figure bent over an invisible bench, with his hands moving in precise, measured gestures. He vanishes if approached, but his presence is unmistakably felt, leaving witnesses with a strange mixture of sadness and unease. In the 1940s, Grafton Street saw a surge of families moving into the surrounding area. Children were playing the alleyways and cobbled paths, filling the street with laughter and life. One bitter winter, however, a severe influenza outbreak swept through Bradford, claiming many young lives. The street, once alive with youthful energy, was left silent and mournful, a quiet reminder of the tragic loss. To this day, residents and passers-by claim that they still hear the echoes of children's laughter late at night, a strange and haunting reminder of those who once played along Grafton Street. The sound drifts eerily along the empty path, growing faint before fading entirely, leaving an unsettling silence in its wake. Several shopkeepers have reported hearing the sound just before dawn, followed by the distinct sensation of being watched, as though the spirits of those lost children still linger, tied to the only place they knew as home. One of the most unsettling presences on Grafton Street is the tall, shadowy figure often seen in the narrow alleyway that connects to the main road. Described as a dark silhouette that looms against the street's dim lighting, this figure has become a subject of fearful rumours. Some say it's the spirit of a man who met his end in a violent altercation along that very alley, while others believe he was a homeless man who once sought refuge in the street's alcoves and died there in obscurity. Those who have encountered this shadow report an intense feeling of dread and an overwhelming urge to leave the area immediately. A local delivery driver once recounted seeing the figure out of the corner of his eye while parking his van late at night. When he looked directly at it, the figure seemed to dissolve into the shadows, yet the cold, oppressive feeling lingered long after he left the street. Bradford's Grafton Street was once lit by gas lamps, which added a distinctive warm glow to the cobbled street. Despite modern lighting now lining the street, several residents have reported seeing an unexplained soft gaslight glow in the dead of night. This spectral illumination seems to flicker down the length of the street, only visible from certain angles, and always vanishes upon closer inspection. Some say that this light is a remnant of the street's Victorian past, when Grafton Street was more vibrant, bustling with workers and craftsmen. Theories about the glow is connected to a specific event, perhaps a fire or accident that claimed lives and left an imprint on the street. Witnesses to the eerie light describe it as strangely comforting yet unsettling, as if they're witnessing a piece of history replaying itself. In a small terrace house that once stood at number 7 Grafton Street, a woman reportedly spent her last years in loneliness and sorrow. Abandoned by her family and with no one to care for her, she passed away in her tiny home, her passing unnoticed for several days. The building was eventually demolished, but her spirit, it seems, refused to leave. Local residents and pedestrians sometimes report hearing the faint sound of weeping near the site, especially on cold, rainy nights. One resident passing by late one night described hearing sobbing that seemed to come from the empty space where number 7 used to stand. The sound grew louder as he approached, only to fade suddenly, leaving an uncomfortable silence. The weeping woman's spirit is believed to be tied to her sorrow and solitude, wandering the street that was her home and prison. Today, Grafton Street remains an unremarkable part of Bradford for many, blending into the fabric of the city's old neighbourhoods. But for those who know its history, and especially for those who have felt its ghostly presence, it is a place marked by stories of loss, resilience, and the lingering spirits of its past residents. The echoes of lives long gone remain there, in the sounds, sights, and sensations that still haunt its quiet cobblestone paths. While Grafton Street's tales may not be as well known as those of grander buildings, its stories reveal a glimpse of the personal, intimate hauntings that can linger in the corners of history, just out of sight but always within reach. Whether these spirits are truly restless souls or simply echoes of the past, one thing is certain: Grafton Street is more than it appears, and its ghosts are unlikely to fade away anytime soon.